Departmentee is back in session, calling the matter of Ignacio Avila Jr. versus Rosie Martinez and Henry Oliva, D15515-892-C. Is everybody present?
My client has stepped out of the room briefly.
Okay. He was last on the stand. Are you ready to call your next witness, counsel?
I actually believe the court had instructed we were going back to Ignacio.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Okay. Ms. Locks, thank you.
And I'm sorry, we're waiting for Henry to come back in the room, is that correct?
Mr. Medlin? Would you like to proceed with or without Henry present?
We can proceed.
Okay.
Okay. Ignacio, so you're still under oath. You understand that you have to tell the truth, right?
Correct.
Okay. I want to talk about, at the court's direction, I want to talk about the visitation that you've had with Alan. We're just talking about Alan, okay? So Alan was born in October 2011, is that right?
Right.
And I'm sorry, Judge, I have to do a little bit of leading because I have the timeline here, so if it's okay with you, I'm going to try and just flesh that out. Between 2011 and about 2015, how often did you see Alan? So when he was born in 2011,
I didn't see him.
You had never met him?
Never met him.
So when did you meet Alan?
Back in 2015 when we were fighting for custodial with Jasmine.
Okay. Do you remember what month you met him?
I'm going to say late, between September, October of 2015.
Okay, and so between 2015 and 2016, that year, how often did you see Alan?
When he didn't have school at John Tartan on Fridays, and some days when he would either, be off from school as well on the breaks or.
Okay, and when you say on his days off from school, how many times a month?
Like once or
twice. So one or 2 days a month?
2 days a month, 1 or 2 days.
And how long each day?
A few hours.
And were you alone with Alan at this time?
With Rosie.
So Rosie was always present. And did you have any overnight visitation with him in 2015 to 2016?
No.
Okay. And then did that change in the summer of 2016?
2016 in the summer, no, because we were discussing about Alan.
So it didn't change? You still saw him once a month?
No, it changed.
It changed to what?
Do nothing, like I don't see him at all.
So you stopped
Ms.
seeing...
Locks, I think you just said once a month, but I heard every Friday at John Tartan and went off from school. So why did you ask once a month?
He testified that in 2015 he only saw him once to twice per month.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so in July 2016 you stopped seeing him at all?
Yeah, like in late, let's say after July, when it was, when I was asking questions about Alan.
And why did you...
Did the DNA.
Why did you stop seeing him?
I didn't stop seeing him. Rosie just stopped allowing me to see him.
Okay, and how long did that last?
Till 2017, so like in March.
So between July 2016 and about February 2017, you didn't see Alan at all?
No.
Okay, and then in March 2017, what happened?
She started to believe in me more about the DNA that I took on January 2017. And she allowed me for some visitations.
Okay, so this is where I want to get specific. When you say some visitations, how often did you see him beginning in March 2017?
Like once or twice a week. Every other week, though, the weekend that I have with my daughter as well.
So you would see him 1 to 2 times every other week.
Yeah.
And did he spend the night during those times?
After June. Yes.
Okay, so so between March 2017 and June 2017, you saw
Correct.
him 1 to 2 times per week, every other week.
Yes.
Okay, so per 2 weeks, and no overnights. So, and that was always when you had Jaslyn?
Jaslyn. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in June 2017, what changed?
I was starting to see him more, but it was mainly like with Jaslyn, with Rosalind.
Okay.
And but she allowed me to have him spend one night only, but every other weekend until just things got more intense with the court.
Okay, so beginning in June 2017, Alan started spending one night with you every
Correct.
other weekend,
Yes.
and that was during the time that you had Jaslyn, correct?
Jaslyn, yes.
Okay. Was there any, aside from the weekend time, did you see him at all during the week?
Sometimes it would be like on the visitations with Rosalind too.
So how often did you do those, 1 day a week visits?
Like I'm gonna say once every 2 weeks. Not a lot. It was just more like whenever she feels like it.
And when, how long on those days did you?
A few hours. It wouldn't be too long.
Okay. And then, and did you ever ask if he could spend the night on those nights?
All the time.
Okay. And what was the response?
Either I get ignored, text, or let me see, answer.
And that's from Rosie?
From Rosie.
Okay.
Also-
So how long? Sorry, go ahead.
Also, let me ask Henry, or let me ask my roommate.
Oh, that was what she said to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that was starting in June 2017.
After
When did that end?
After our first hearing, January 2018. January 2018.
Okay, so what did you start doing in January 2018?
After the hearing, it was the same thing. Nothing changed after the mediation.
Okay, so the same
After the-
schedule
yeah.
continued until when?
All the way till before the Supreme Court, 9/11,
9/11.
2018.
Okay, so you continued to see him one night every other weekend with Jaslyn.
The overnight, it stopped though
When?
on 2018.
When in
I
2018?
don't really exactly remember the dates, but
Okay.
I know it stopped sometime.
Okay. And so beginning in September, you said September 11, 2018. What was the schedule that you exercised after that?
I still wasn't know. It's whenever they want, whenever Rosie and Henry wants.
Okay, and roughly how often is that? Like how often per week
I
or
can
per
say
month?
I can say a few hours a month, not a week.
So a few hours
Like
maybe
I'm meaning less than 20 hours for sure
per month,
per month.
split across several days, or
No, that's just straight up 20 hours. I counted the hours to like 18, 14 hours, depending, and every monthly is different, so it'll be less than a day for sure.
less than a day? But so you said that he stopped spending the night though, right?
Yes.
So if you had him for 20 hours, how did that work? What was the breakup of time?
It was just limited, like just a hi, bye, and then haircut, quick 2 to 3 hours. Take them to the arcades really quick, and then go back because they want him at 5:30 or want him at 6 o'clock. That's it.
Okay, so you said 20 hours a month, but you meant like a few hours here and there?
Yes, like split every 2 weeks, every once a week or 2 weeks.
Okay. And was Rosie still here for these, or who was on these visits when you had him?
Just me and Rosalind and Alan.
Okay, so it was just you and the
Yes,
two kids?
the 2 kids, yes.
And was it ever just you and Alan, or did Alan?
Sometimes, yes.
Or let me finish my question.
I'm
So was it always you, Alan and Jaslyn, or was there times where Alan would be with you without Jaslyn?
Correct. There would be times where I didn't have Rosalind, but only Alan.
But only for a few hours at a
Only
time?
for a few hours.
When's the last time you think that he spent the night at your house?
Remember on that.
Okay. Does that help the court?
So what about 19, 20, and 21?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Judge. Okay, between September 2018 when that started, how long did that schedule last? So you said in September 2018, you started only seeing him about 20 hours per month on kind of
Correct.
random days when you had Jaslyn.
Correct.
How long did that schedule last?
Till 2020, actually, till now.
Okay, so that's the same schedule that you
That's
get right
the same
now?
schedule that I get.
So you see Jaslyn every other weekend.
I see Jaslyn 3-4 days out of the week.
How often does she spend the night at your house?
2 to 3 days
Each week?
every other weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
He's confusing the court. Is it every other weekend or is it?
I
3
have
days a
her.
week?
I have her. I'm sorry. I have her every other weekend,
Right.
but I'll do have her 2 days visitations, 3 days visitations as well. But every other weekend we do have every other weekend or overnights.
So you have Jaslyn every other weekend, and
Correct.
she stays the night on those weekends.
Correct.
And then you have her additional, like 3 to 4 days during the week, but
Visitations.
just during the day.
Yes, just during the day.
Okay. And you don't see Alan during those times?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Judge, I had, when was, so I guess you said that you can't recall the last time that you had an overnight with him, but when was the last time that you saw him?
The last time that I saw him, it was on March 30th. And that was for a few hours with Rosalind and Alan together.
So you,
March
and
30th,
was that just you or was
2021, right?
Rosalie?
2021, yes, sorry, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I think that's all I have, Judge, unless you had some clarifying questions for my client.
Just a couple. So you said Alan wouldn't spend the night anymore after September 11th, 2018. Is that correct?
Correct.
Why?
He's not allowed to, Your Honor.
Says who?
Rosie. Most of the communication that I had was with Rosie. Sometimes I would get a text regarding that Henry doesn't allow Alan to stay overnight.
Did you ever talk to
And
Henry about
it's been
that?
happening after. I'm sorry?
Did you ever talk to Henry about that?
It was just between mom and dad. Henry knows, though. Henry knew, though, too, Your Honor, and I know that the conflict would be big if it was, if I were to ask Henry. Henry knew our situation. I mean, Rosie knows too, and I would never withhold my children from anybody as well.
Okay. You indicated 14, 18, 20 hours per month is what you would spend with Alan doing things like arcades and playing games.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, correct. My time is limited, so it's like I'm afraid that, and I'm always on time. So when I'm set for a time, for example, like if I am able to see him for 3 hours, I would do anything, whatever. I even asked him to, what do you feel like doing? I know he likes basketball as well, so we would do anything. And sometimes he needed a haircut, so I would do that because my sister cuts hair. So I would do that, and then he would play with his cousins. The first thing that we would do though is try to go see Auntie and his cousins. But other than that, we'll do whatever he wants to do, Your Honor.
So for the last 3 years, basically, it's just been like as much as 20 hours a week, and that's it.
For the 3 years since the appeal, yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I thought that the testimony was 20 hours per month. Am I
20 hours a month.
am I wrong?
No, I'm sorry. For 20 hours per month.
If I didn't say month, that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss. I appreciate it. So Ignacio, why is there an agreement with Rosie for Jaslyn, and you and her have a stipulation, and you and her abide by it, but you and her can't figure out Alan.
I tried to, Your Honor, several times. I tried to talk to her even before court. I tried to do it the right way between Henry and Rosie as well too, and they wanted the legal way. That was according to Rosie, and we even have mediation too. And I thought by mediation too would get solved. But all I want is just to be part of their lives, and you know, I always try to do a settle, even before the appeal.
Okay. When Rosie and you talk about why you can't resolve things regarding Alan, what does Rosie say?
Either I get ignored or let me see. I'll think about it. That was the answer. It's always about let's see what court has to say as well.
Mm-hmm. Has she ever said, take Alan 4 days a week?
That'll be a miracle.
Okay.
But no.
Okay. What kind of visitation would you like with Alan?
Now that you mentioned 4 days of the week, please. I'm just playing. I try to make it equal, Your Honor. I try to work it out.
Equal with who?
3.5 days.
Henry or
3.5
Rosie?
days. I'm sorry?
Equal with who? Henry or Rosie?
With Rosie.
Okay. What about Henry?
It's going to be a big conflict, Your Honor.
What would you do?
I mean, I'm sorry?
What would you do?
What would I do? Well, it's
Correct.
on Rosie's
Let me
time.
rephrase the question. What days
Okay.
would you want Henry to spend time with Alan, your biological child? Answer the question.
I believe it's fair, like if it, under my time and under his time, under Rosie's time, that's among them.
So, what days?
Your Honor, I think he's saying that he wants 3.5 days, and that if Henry has visits, he wants them to take place during Rosie's time. That's what he's relayed to me.
Okay. Okay. What's your work schedule, Ignacio?
Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And what do you do for a living, Ignacio?
Warehouse. I'm with the Teamsters 986.
Caesars, right?
Caesar's Palace, yes.
Okay.
Warehouse attendant.
Okay. Okay. Do you know what Rosie's work schedule is?
No, Your Honor. And I also have requested it too.
Okay. Is council ready to call their next witness, or would Mr. Medlin, I apologize, would you like to have any sort of cross on the schedule? The court jumped in and asked questions, so I'll give you your time for cross, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. So you testified you have, I'm still unclear as to how often you have Jaslyn. How often do you pick her up from school in the past, most recent month? Just the past month. How often did you pick her up from school?
I think he's
Sorry, my
muted.
This
microphone was
past
muted.
month. Sorry.
I assume that's just a calendar.
Yeah, it looks like a planner.
Okay.
I'm gonna say like two or 3 days. 2 or 3 days this past month. No, I'm sorry, April. We're talking about April.
Sure, April.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days.
Okay,
Out of
which
the
day?
week. For example, this last week, I picked her up like 2 days from school.
Which day?
and the week before it'll be like 3 days.
Which
Wednesday,
day?
Thursday, Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. So both weeks about that much.
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 of those 3 days.
Yes, and then before the pandemic, I was picking her up almost 4 or 5 days out of the week.
Okay, so the pandemic began
2020.
approximate March of 2020. So prior to that, you were picking her up 4 or 5 days a week from school.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that crystallizes it better for me. No, Your Honor, I can pass this witness.
Okay. Rosie?
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Rosie, do you have any questions on the timeline as far as Ignacio's time with Alan?
With Ellen? No, I can't talk about Jasmine.
I
Just about the picking up and stuff.
I want to limit questions to, time. Jaslyn is fair game, so go ahead and ask your questions.
No, I was just saying that about Jasmine that he picks her up from school because he doesn't let Henry pick her up. That's the only reason. He never wants Henry to pick her up, and then she gets. One time I sent Henry to pick her up. Jaslyn told Henry to stay in the car just in case Ignacio was around, and she was really scared. That's what Henry told me.
I have to object to child hearsay. I'm sorry.
Sustained as to child hearsay, but the statements between Rosie and Henry are fair. Anything else, Rosie?
Just, Your Honor, this is my problem, that Henry doesn't want Alan to go with Ignacio, and Ignacio doesn't want Jaslyn to go with Henry. That's the whole problem here. I'm like this, like, no, she can't go. No, he can't go. Oh my God, I go crazy. So that's the whole thing, that I don't want problems with either one, but they don't want to communicate. I always tell Ignacio to ask Henry, or Henry asks Ignacio, but they never want to talk. Never. In this whole 5-6 years, they never want to talk to each other at all. I think they could talk, they could sit down and talk and, settle everything down, but they don't want to. I don't know why they don't want to see each other's face. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Everything goes through me. This, that. That's the whole problem I have.
The court asked you in the beginning about some sort of a schedule with Alan. Have you thought about it some more?
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Any additional?
But Alan, to be honest, like Alan has to get used to, like he really doesn't go that much, so he's not like really used to like leaving the house, his house, both of his houses, and that's why I think he's not comfortable going. I think he has to get used to it. I don't know. It's just it's him. Like sometimes he doesn't want to go, and I try to convince him just go for a little bit. I try to be nice, but without Henry knowing sometimes, like I would send him. Yeah, well, I would like to settle it now, like maybe, I don't know, every other weekend, I don't know. That's all I want, like everything to be, they could get along, him and Henry, Ignacio and Henry.
Okay.
And they could talk about it.
Anything further, counsels?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Medlin, who's your next witness?
I think Miss Rosa might want to just speak on her own. However, we would like to direct her as a party with our questioning, but I have no more witnesses.
Okay.
Sorry, so I don't understand. Are you going to call her as a witness and direct examine her, or are you going to let her speak? I don't understand what you mean by direct.
I don't wish for her to be a direct witness, but as she is unrepresented, she seems to want to speak on her behalf.
Rosie, let me explain something. You know how the two lawyers are asking quick questions to the witnesses, and then the witnesses answer only what the lawyers say, and then if the witness tries to say something else that's over here, then the lawyers go, no, 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 answer this question. You can't do that because it's just you. But
Okay.
you are the mother of this child, and your words
Yes.
are very important. And, you know, the lawyers are going to, and the court is going to give you some latitude to explain things in your own way. And I want to hear about whether or not that timeline is somewhat accurate regarding Ignacio and Alan. And I'd like to hear why it's only, 14, 20 hours a month from you. I'd like to hear more about your thoughts on visitation. And then, these kids are blessed that there's 3 parents that love them.
I know.
They're blessed. But it's a very, very difficult situation. And we need you to speak up, because now's the time. And there won't be tomorrow. So go ahead and tell the court what you'd like to tell the court.
I don't know what to say. I'm like very nervous right now. Like I told you right now, like I just want everything to be settled, like so for them to get along, and then to just share time with them, because I know they both love them.
Okay, let's start with the timeline. Is it true that Ignacio didn't spend any time with Alan between 2011 and 2015? Yes or no?
That's not true.
Okay, what kind of time did he spend with Alan?
Well, you would see him here and there. Like it would never pass like a whole month without him seeing him. I would take him. You'll see him when I drop off Jaslyn. Almost all the time I drop Jaslyn, because Alan would always be with me when I pick up Jaslyn or drop off Jaslyn. So he would always see him there.
So he would see him at drop-offs?
Yeah, drop off and pick up. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you were living with Henry until...
I moved out on 2016.
16.
16. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I would try to I would always let him see him like once here and there. But the only reason, like when we went to court, the court told us that it's up to us to let him see Alan, like whenever we wanted to or whenever.
You can't say him because you've got a male
Oh,
child,
Ignacio.
you've got Henry, and you've got Ignacio. So when you say
Okay,
him, I have
Ignacio.
no idea who you're talking about.
Sorry, it's Ignacio.
Okay.
Like this court that we've been having, it's like always been the same thing. Like and then at the end they would just tell us that he could see him whenever he was available or whenever we wanted to.
I don't know who he is. Who is he?
Ignacio. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for Ignacio.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the court told you that Ignacio could see Alan whenever Ignacio wanted to see Alan. Is that what you're saying?
No, whenever we wanted to.
Who's we?
And if we wanted to.
Who is
If
we?
Oh, me and Henry.
Okay.
Me and Henry.
Okay.
That was the last court we went to.
Okay.
Mhm, in
And
person.
what did you and Henry decide for Ignacio to spend time with Alan?
Well, Henry didn't really like the idea, but me as a mom, I would always try to let him see him at least a little bit,
A little bit, as in how much? And what time frame are you talking about?
Well, we didn't have a schedule, but whatever he said, like sometimes like for a couple hours or whenever Alan wanted to go. Like if he asked me, I want to go with him. He calls him JJ. I don't know why. But he says, can I go with JJ? And I said, okay, yeah, you could go. Whenever he wants to go, I'll let him go. Whenever Alan wants to go.
Okay.
Mm.
And why
That's
is it
about
only
it.
20 hours a month, Mom? That's not a lot of time.
I don't know if it's 20 hours because I didn't add up the hours, but I don't know exactly how much it is.
Why isn't it 7 days a week on and 7 days a week off?
No, because we didn't have an agreement like in court or with Henry or nothing. You know, I was just waiting. I mean, it's hard like with Henry and all three of us want to share him. Hmm. That's why we're here.
Okay.
But I did try to. I never stopped showing him Alan.
You never stopped what?
Showing him Alan, like never. You would always see him.
For a few hours.
Mhm.
Okay. Why'd the overnight stop, Mom?
I don't know. I think it was after court. After the court decided that he wasn't that Henry was the legal father. That he could be the biological, but Henry was the legal father. I think that's when it stopped.
Okay.
But it wasn't only my decision. It was me and Henry.
You and Henry decided that Ignacio should not have overnights with Alan after September 11th, 2018. Is that correct?
I don't know if that's the correct date, but yeah, I think it stopped. It stopped overnight. I'm not sure about the dates or anything like that.
Okay. Any questions from councils?
No, Judge.
Just one. How much time does Alan spend with his older brother, Henry Jr.?
A lot. They're
Not a
like,
lot?
A lot. No, I mean a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. How much?
All day. All day after school. And then when Alan's here, Henry's here, they can't be separated. They can't. If one comes, the other one has to come. Like if sometimes Henry has to stay to do work, Alan stays too. Like he doesn't want to come if Henry doesn't come.
Henry meaning Henry Jr. or?
Henry Jr. Henry
Yeah.
Jr.
Okay.
Like they're very attached.
Does Junior ever go with Alan when they visit Ignacio?
No, never.
Never.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question, actually, after opposing counsel asked a question. You said that Henry Jr. never goes with Alan to Ignacio's timeshare. Whose choice is that?
No, nobody just doesn't want to go. Sometimes I ask him because I remember Ignacio used to take them to basketball, and one time I asked him, "You want to go?" He's like, "No, no." There's nobody's choice. He just doesn't want to go. He's older. He's 13. So.
Okay, so would you allow Henry Jr. to go with Alan to Ignacio's timeshare?
Why would he go though?
I'm asking you a question. Would you ever allow Alan's brother to go with him to Ignacio's timeshare?
Yeah, if it's like a birthday party or something, yeah, why not?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, I've got a couple more, Mom. Okay, so
Okay.
you have an agreement with Ignacio for Jaslyn. Ignacio's abiding by it. He sees Jaslyn every other weekend and a couple days during the week because it looks like his schedule, he gets off early.
Yeah.
We're a little unsure what your schedule is, but Ignacio's available and he picks the baby up from school and handles business for a couple hours. Is that fair?
Yes, but I want Henry to pick her up from school too, because I want her to spend time with her brother.
So the answer to my question was yes, that is
Yes,
the schedule?
yes.
Okay. My next
Yes.
question for you is, when did you come to that stipulation with Ignacio?
On the court? Do you mean like, not the court schedule?
When did you and Ignacio agree as to the schedule for Jaslyn?
2015, I believe it was the court, or 16.
And you and Ignacio were still kind of seeing each other at that time, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we talked a lot, yeah, about the kids and stuff.
Okay. Why can't you and Ignacio come to an agreement regarding Alan?
Because there's Henry too, you know, and then Alan is older. It's like a little bit harder, you know. I don't know. It's a little different. I told Ignacio about Jaslyn when Jaslyn was 6 months old. She was a baby. But I think Alan was older when he started telling me about the DNA. I think he was like 5 years old or 6 years old. It's like it was a little harder with Alan.
Why is it harder with Alan when he's 5 years old to come to an agreement with his biological father, just like you came to an agreement with him about Jaslyn? Why?
Well, I don't know. It's Henry too. Like he was the dad, and he was there for him all the time. So I don't know. It was hard because Henry was there for Alan all the time. I didn't want to hurt him that way. I don't know. It's
But
just
what about
hard.
Ignacio? He lost 5 years of Alan's infancy, toddlerhood, and early childhood. And now he lost more years because of an appeal. Why can't you come to an agreement with Ignacio? How incredibly unfair is that to him?
Okay, Your Honor. Yeah, I could come to an agreement, but then it's Henry too, not only me.
My question is for you.
Yeah, I could come to an agreement with him.
It's not punting to Henry. I'm asking you as the mother.
I think I could have done it, yeah.
No, my
but I always
question is, why haven't you come to an agreement with Ignacio for Alan? You're having a tough time answering.
Oh, because he always said he was going to submit to court, and I waited for court all the time because he would always tell me it was court. So I'm like, okay. I don't know. I didn't know what else to do. Like because I always thought about Henry, you know, always.
What about Ignacio?
Yeah, him too. But at the time it was Henry. Like he was. I don't know. I was there with him, so that's that's the reason I moved out too, because I wanted to settle all this whole thing, thing going on. I couldn't do it.
Okay. Any counsel have any follow-up questions?
No, I don't, Judge.
Mr. Medlin, I'm assuming you have some follow-up?
I have just a brief one.
Please.
When you have a set schedule with Jaslyn, does Ignacio ask for any more time outside of that set schedule?
Yes.
Why was he picking the child up every day after school?
Because he doesn't want Henry to pick her up.
Was that during his time?
Whose time? Ignacio?
Yeah.
No.
His time.
No.
Was that during Ignacio's time?
No.
Why did you permit him extra time? Why did you permit Ignacio extra time?
Because I didn't want to have the problem. Like he's always telling me, I don't want Henry to pick her up. One time he went to my work, took a picture of me because I told him that I was gonna work, that I was gonna be off to take the kids somewhere, and I went to work because Henry was gonna take them somewhere, and he went and took a picture of me while I was working. And I'm saying that I lied to him, that Henry picked up Jaslyn. He did that like 2 times.
So,
It's still confusing when we're throwing around he and his.
Oh,
right?
It is
Ignacio.
so confusing, I
Ignacio.
agree. We have to use
Ignacio.
names, and the names are as follows. Henry, who's dad, Henry Jr., who's a little guy, Ignacio, Alan, and Jaslyn. Those are the only names.
Okay, I'm talking about Ignacio, sorry.
Okay, then say
So-
Ignacio.
to help clean that up, when you told Ignacio that you were going to be available to pick Jaslyn up from school, correct?
Yes.
And it is your testimony that Ignacio came and photographed you at your place of work.
Yes, I have the picture.
How did he send you that picture?
Through text.
And this happened on more than one occasion.
2 times. One time he showed up at my work.
Does he bombard you in other ways for additional timeshare?
Mm, well, he always asks for extra time. But when I ask for extra time, oh no, he gets mad. He starts telling me all this stuff just because I don't give him to him on time, to Ignacio on time.
So when you ask Ignacio for extra time, he is combative,
Yes.
but it is your testimony that he, quote, always asks for extra time. How often is always in 1 week?
Him or me? Ignacio? Or me?
How often does Ignacio ask you in 1 week? How much is always in your mind?
Well, Ignacio wants to pick her up every day from school, now that she's back to school. And then when she wasn't in school, and then the other weeks he would ask for, when it's only Tuesday, Thursdays for him 1 week, and then the next week he doesn't see her, he will want to see her like maybe a Wednesday from the other week.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
I have a couple of questions, if that's okay, Judd.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
please,
think I'm going out of order. I do apologize.
Please.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, Rosie, you said that Ignacio showed up at your work, but you also testified that you had told Ignacio that you would be picking up the kids from school. Is that right?
I just told him I was going to be off. That's it.
And was that a lie?
Yeah, because I had to lie to him.
No, it's just a yes or no question.
It
So
was
was that a
always-
lie that you told him?
Always lies because he never wanted Henry to pick her up.
Okay, so you lied to Ignacio about when you're going to be taking care of your kids because you're worried about conflict between Ignacio and Henry.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And then also, you mentioned that when you ask for more time, Henry can be combative. Don't you have primary custody already of Jaslyn?
What was the question?
You testified that when you ask for more time,
With who?
Ignacio, either child, Jaslyn or Alan, when you ask for more time with either child, okay, let me break it down. Have you asked for more time with Alan?
With Henry?
Correct. No, have you asked for more time for yourself during Ignacio's timeshare of Alan?
But Alan doesn't have a timeshare. I mean.
Okay, great. Yes, so that's my point. I'm talking about Jaslyn. So during Ignacio's timeshare with Jaslyn, you just testified that you asked for more time. Is that correct?
It's not really, maybe once or twice in the whole schedule, but he gets mad. He doesn't want me to.
But you have primary custody of Jaslyn, do you not?
Yes, but it's only like I told you once
so
a year.
just answer my question, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
you have primary custody of Jaslyn, and I'm not talking about Henry. Ignacio has every other weekend. Why do you ask for more time if Ignacio only has every other weekend?
When I ask, it's for an emergency. Like last time I had surgery, so I told him that I was going to give it to him on Saturday, not Friday. Well, that's when everything starts. That's why when he asked for more.
So in this example that you're citing, you didn't ask for additional time. You asked Ignacio if he could take Jaslyn for a different day. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Like,
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you. That's all.
Okay.
Rosie, what do you do?
I work at the Cosmopolitan food and beverage cashier.
What days of the week do you work?
I'm off Sunday, Monday, so Tuesday through Saturday.
What hours do you work?
10:30. Right now it's 6 hours. 10:30 to 4:30, or 10:30 to 6:30. It's 6 hours, but it depends. Like sometimes it's 8.
So 10:30 to 4:30 or 6:30. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So is it fair to say that you're unavailable to pick up your babies from school if their school gets
Yes.
out? Okay.
Yes.
So who usually handles pickup from school for all of your kids?
Henry.
Okay. What about Ignacio?
Ignacio, Jaslyn.
Okay. council have any other questions for Mom based on me asking about Mom's work schedule at all, or no?
I do not, Judge.
No,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
Okay. I believe Mr. Medlin then, do you have any other witnesses?
I do not.
Okay, you guys both had, witness lists, but you're not gonna call anybody.
Based off how it has shaped up, it's not necessary.
Okay.
We only listed the 3 parties, and we're satisfied with the questions we've asked today.
Okay. The court has a couple questions for Henry. Do you think you could turn the camera back?
Happy to, if you'll give me just a moment.
Yes, please. Hello, Henry. You're still under oath. I'm just reminding you. I didn't feel like I heard enough from you, and so I wanted to ask you a couple follow-up questions. You mentioned that Henry Jr.'s first word was dada, right?
Yes.
And then which of the other 2 kids said dada first, and which one said nana first and then dada second? I need to correct my notes.
Alan said Dada first, and Jasmine said Nana first.
And then dada second, right?
Yes.
Okay. I can see that this is incredibly difficult for you. How do you think it feels from Ignacio's perspective?
I'm sure there's some discomfort there from his side also.
Okay. Do you think you could have a conversation with Ignacio and maybe talk to him a little bit more?
Honestly, Your Honor, I don't think so, because I don't think he would be satisfied with anything based on what I've going through mediation in the prior case.
He has nothing with Alan on paper.
He goes, I mean, definitely there's nothing on paper. You're right.
So you're saying he wouldn't be satisfied with anything, even though he has nothing on paper with Alan? Why do you
We
think
tried
that?
to, because we tried to offer that in the past, and he denied it.
Okay. What do you want Ignacio to have with Alan?
Well, Your Honor, it's hard for me to agree, just in on how difficult this whole situation is. Regardless of the case, it's painful.
I can see that.
For all 3.
I can see that.
One thing that there is times that Alan calls me and asks me if he could go, and my answer has always been yes. The only problem that I've felt that I'm not comfortable with is that when he goes, it seems like he's interrogated, or he's told information that's probably not necessary, where they're telling him that, and also Jaslyn, where they're telling Jaslyn and Alan, not to come with me. I'm not the real dad, and stuff like that. And
Objection. I mean, this is child hearsay. We don't have these children here to ask, so we can't talk about what they've said.
But it's true.
Sustained as to child hearsay. Henry, typically hearsay, that's lawyers speak for any he said, she said, they said statements. So if you find yourself saying he said, she said, they said, it's probably hearsay. Just a rule of thumb.
He's allowed to comment what the child has said to him. It doesn't go to the truth of the matter. The child said it to him.
It's
Right,
child hearsay.
that's the definition of hearsay.
That's not, the court sustained it. I'm not changing my ruling. Henry,
So based on sometimes the actions and the characteristics that the kids have displayed with me at my time when I have them present, it seems like they've felt uncomfortable. For example, if say Jaslyn, me going to school with her or her coming over to my house, she's felt discomfort or an uneasiness because she seems afraid to be reprimanded, and with Alan, he seems sometimes where he's kind of like disappointed and has asked me certain questions and stuff, or he's not satisfied, just in as far as their characteristics go.
Okay, I have a different question. What if Henry Jr.'s was Ignacio's?
I'm sorry?
What if Henry Jr. was Ignacio's biological child? What if? How would you share him?
I would have to get over my pain first to be able to think about it.
Okay. I mean, I can't divide him in three. So you have Wednesday to Saturday and Sunday to Tuesday or mom's time. What's the exchange time and which day does the exchange occur?
You asking me?
Yes, Henry.
Sometimes it varies on activities that maybe the kids might be doing. So sometimes it could be Saturday night, sometimes it could be Sunday morning.
Okay.
Maybe the kids, they have something going on, especially if all three are together. We might do something on Saturday night, and if so they might stay over, or sometimes I'll just drop them off at that time.
Okay. Do you have any opinion as to why Ignacio and Rosie can't come to an agreement as to Alan? Mom keeps saying it's your fault. What's the story with that?
Well, it almost seems like everything is my fault from everything that's happened. But I think from what I sense, she tries to avoid the conflict. She doesn't want to, be in conflict with him, or with Ignacio, or with myself, which I feel that sometimes I give her the least amount of conflict, and I think part of the reason it's always kind of like the time that Jaslyn has with her mother, with Rosie, is pretty much when she's not available. Rosie can make a decision on where that time can be spent, but it seems like it's taken away from him, from not allowing her to come, for not allowing Jaslyn to come to with me.
Okay. What is it from you to Rosie that's preventing Rosie and Ignacio from coming to an agreement as to Alan? What's happening in your head regarding Alan?
Well, Alan is really attached to Henry. They've grown up, together the majority of the time because Jaslyn had her visitation when she would leave. So both of them are always inseparable. They're always looking out for each other. They do things together. They're like right and left to each other. They're close and I don't, I wouldn't like to take anything away from Henry Jr. as what he has grown up with and the relationship that he's had with his brother.
Okay. So what are you saying to Rosie that's preventing Ignacio and Rosie from coming to an agreement as to Alan?
What am I saying to Rosie?
Yeah, Mom keeps saying you're the reason why her and Ignacio can't come to an agreement about Alan. Is she lying?
Well, I think that when she says that, it's because I'm a third person. If that wasn't ever involved in anything, then it'd be really easy for just them two. But because she also knows that the way I feel is that, of course, it's hard for me to accept for Alan to go and spend time with him also. But also, I haven't really denied him visiting the times that he's visiting, even though it's something that might be uncomfortable to me. But what I don't like is if Alan is on a program or on a plan with his brother, to be distracted from that, and sometimes that could happen, or something might be planned for all three of us, for Alan, Henry, and myself, and he might be pulled away from that activity or whatever we're gonna do.
Okay.
And then she knows that I'm one of the reasons that that I always tell her that I'm not that bothers me is when I see the actions of how the kids how they're feeling their characteristics that they have when they come back sometime.
Have you ever called Ignacio and said, hey, do you want to see Alan or take him for some ice cream?
No.
Okay. Have you ever said, hey, let's call Ignacio or let's FaceTime or WhatsApp Ignacio so you can see him?
Me and who else? Me and Alan?
When you have Alan, have you ever called Ignacio and FaceTimed with Alan and Ignacio?
No.
Okay. Do council have any follow-up questions?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lopez?
No, Your Honor.
No? Okay. And there's no further witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Would you guys like a short break to get your thoughts together for closing?
I'm ready, but it seems like everyone else could use a break.
Thank you.
The court's okay with the break. Do you guys want 10 minutes, Mr. Medlin?
10 is fine, Judge.
10 is fine? Okay, so we'll come back at 3:50, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, councils and Rosie.